Okay, everybody, we're back with our second Cabral house call of the weekend. As always, I appreciate your support of the Cabral concept, your reviews. They mean a lot to me. They really do. I love being able to just see from the community, just the power of the community and how people sharing with people, grassroots-based movement really is changing lives. And just getting us to understand that although conventional medicine will always try to get us to believe that there's a pill for every ill, that we're not falling for it, that we know that we are simply masking symptoms if we're always on pharmaceuticals, and that we are not getting to the root cause of what actually caused the dis-ease in the first place. So I talk about that in the rain barrel effect, but I love answering your questions on a daily basis, especially on these weekend Cabral house calls. So let's dive right into the show. First question, if you want to follow along, of course, you can go to stephencabral.com/3432. First question from Anonymous. Anonymous says, I had fatigue, body pain, and gallstones. Taking malic acid for gallstones, but pain and fatigue went away. What does it mean when malic acid eliminates body aches? Does malic acid address root cause issues? Is malic acid safe to take while I run my Big 5 labs? Oh, interesting. Okay. So let me help. Malic acid helps to loosen, soften bile. So the bile that could be in the gallbladder or in the liver, because the liver actually contains a lot of bile because it has like hundreds to thousands of bile ducts. Okay. So what is malic acid? Well, malic acid, or malate, you might have heard of malate before, is actually part of the Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle. That is the cycle where our body creates energy and ATP, adenosine triphosphate, in the mitochondria. And I know you've been hearing probably a lot about the mitochondria lately. So when you take malic acid, you actually take fuel for ATP and mitochondria. And when the mitochondria are functioning better, it can better balance energy and inflammation. So maybe that's why you felt better using the malic acid. Now, instead of just using malic acid every day of your life, although there's a great product called full spectrum magnesium that actually includes 3 to 4 forms of magnesium, with one of those being magnesium malate, which is actually magnesium bound to malic acid. So you get a little bit every day, which is why, of course, we like to use that because it's spread out over glycinate, citrate, malate, and lysine, which is great for the heart, great for the immune system, etc. So that's that. Can you use malic acid when running your Big 5 labs? You should not, because it affects one lab called the Candida Metabolic and Vitamins test, and it will actually show high malic acid or high malate on that Krebs cycle. But it's okay if you ran it. You would just let your integrative health practitioner or eco-life coach know that you were taking malate while running this lab. All right, so hopefully that's helpful. Nakul is up next. Hello, Dr. Brawl. I'm a big fan of your podcast and your approach to chronic health challenges. You're helping a lot of people. Please keep up the great work. Thank you, Nakul. I appreciate that. I was diagnosed with CIRS last year, which is an inflammatory response caused by genetic predisposition to be unable to remove inhaled biotoxins like mold or endotoxins with the adaptive immune response. I've been dealing with a reduction in vision from what I suspect is brain inflammation caused by toxicity, and alopecia areata, in addition to food sensitivities and allergies. I've been using cholestyramine and other binders, which have helped, but would love to know your thoughts and recommendations on how biotoxin illness can be treated through naturopathy. Thanks for your help. All right, so happy to help with all of this, and I actually did a whole show on it. Now, you wrote in on May 12th, and today is June 29th. So that means we're about 6 weeks behind in answering people's questions because, again, the queue just grows or it shrinks a little bit. And so it's always between like 6 and 12 weeks. So let's find out my episode for you on CIRS. Chronic inflammation or inflammatory response syndrome, episode 3406. stephencabral.com/3406. It's not just a 2-minute response. It's a 15-minute response to your answer. I hope that show helps. I am someone that deals with genetic inflammatory issues, but I've been able to get really all of that under control. Not maybe, like, yes, 100%. And I know that you can as well. It does leave you more susceptible in the future, just like me as well, but you're able to overcome your genetics. Your genetics are not your destiny. What you'll need to do is, if ideally you run the Big 5 labs. If you're not able to, at least run the starter kit. And then you'll begin with healing the gut, doing a mold detox, doing a heavy metal detox, doing all the things that you need to, just gently over the course of 6 months to 12 months to continue to empty that rain barrel and rebalance the immune system which works on the inflammatory response. And I know you'll get there. I got there. I know you can too. No doubt about it. All right, Jen's up next. Jen says, thank you for taking my question, Dr. Cabral. I listen and learn from you every day. Happy to hear that, Jen. Jen's question is, my question is about behavioral change at the root cause. This one thing in my life I desperately want to do it because it is good. And by not doing it, I am acting in a way that is incongruent with my career and mission. And that causes me much mental anguish. I know that when I'm able to solve this conundrum, I will be true to myself and can help others do the same. What would be your protocol for changing behavior, not just an outward compliance, but at the very root cause subconscious level? How thankful I am for you. I'm looking forward to incorporating what I learned from you on the subject. Thank you. Well, I don't know if you're an IHP, but we teach this in IHP Mastery. And there's a few parts to it. So I want to go through some of them with you. And then a lot of these I teach on Mindset and Motivation Mondays, and there's hundreds of those shows. So when we know we should be doing something because it will help lead us to our best life and be good for us, our family, and those people we serve in the world, we don't do that thing because there is a disconnect between consciously knowing what we should do and subconsciously believing that that is the right next step. Typically, it becomes down to fear or loss. So doing the thing will take time away from X, Y, and Z. Doing the thing will put you more out there and leave you open to criticism. Doing the thing may make you lose your current circle of friends, family, whatever it is, right? So the fear of loss. And then the fear of success is, I've never been there before. What if I get this and this changes me? What if this, and this happens? These are all very common, and it comes back to childhood programming almost always. So it doesn't always have to be trauma from childhood, but it's the wiring we were given. Some of it's nature, most of it's nurture, meaning like I believe in nature and nurture, but when there's these blocks, the block often comes down to we saw a parent or someone very important to us not be able to achieve that thing, and we can't either, or shouldn't be, or should not surpass, their level, whatever it might be. This is really important to look into. There are great hypnotherapists that do regression-based therapy. There are great cognitive behavioral therapists. There are great internal family training systems therapists that are amazing. So when you work with them, you basically talk about what your goal is, what the block is, why you're not achieving it, and then you're going back to childhood and finding a time in your life when you saw this, not the same exact thing because you're a child, right? But when you saw it show up maybe somewhere else, and then you work through that as well. So since I don't know what your thing is specifically, I can't give you exactly those steps to go through, but it's an interesting process. And it's an unfolding, and it's worth doing the work. It really is. It's amazing. I did the work for many, many years. I'm maybe slower than others, in terms of rewiring the brain and all these things, but I'm glad I did. I really am. All right, Amy's up next. Hi there. Thank you for your wealth of knowledge and insight into all things health. Thanks, Amy. I have a question about microplastics in tea bags. Common knowledge is that steeping tea bags is a huge source of microplastics. I'm wondering how concerned you feel we should be about this, as I'm driving myself crazy. Sometimes companies use unbleached tea bags that are glue-free, heat sealed, and claim to be plastic free. Would those really be safer? Looking forward to any insight on how much concern a casual tea drinker should have. Okay, so this is important because Amy brings up two really good points. One is that tea bags are loaded with microplastics, and I cannot recommend using them in any way, shape, or form. All right, so that's number one. Number two is that you can't drive yourself crazy over every single thing that you do in life. Like, you really can't. So that's number two. So if you're a casual tea drinker, once a month, twice a month, you meet a friend and you get a tea and you just purchase something to be nice, and then you ask for a cup of hot water. Well, here's the thing. The cups that you get when you're out for your coffee or tea are lined in microplastics as well, plastic, right? So there's an issue right there. So it's kind of like in these situations, going out, you can't win. So you need to bring your own thermos bottle, right? And your own tea bag, and then just buy something else if you want to be nice. So then every once in a while, if you use a tea bag, no big deal. It's all these are suspect until I know for sure that they're glue-free and that they're plastic-free. So like suspect, but here's the easiest thing, because I'm just going to give everybody the easiest and best tip. Bring your thermos if you go out, ask for the tea bag separate. They make, and I did a Friday review. So every single Friday I'm reviewing the most random things, but I always feel like they're helpful. There are these cylindrical balls made of stainless steel with a little chain on it. Very lightweight. You can bring it around with you. All you do is rip open the tea bag or cut the tea bag, pour the tea leaves into this cylindrical ball, put that in the hot water, no more microplastics to worry about. So now you can get all of your favorite teas, cut the bag or gently open it to get as few microplastics as possible, right? Don't tear it. And then pour the leaves in. Or again, like that's an easy way. Now you can get any tea you want and you'll be microplastic free. You can also just buy loose tea leaves. That's a great thing to do. And then you can steep them and pour it out, or you can use, again, that little cylindrical ball. You'll be able to find it, or just ask. Michelle is amazing at finding all of these things. So is Daniel. So is Lauren. Ask at cabralsupportgroup.com. They'll find it for you. It's out there. If they can't find it, I'll personally get you the link. All right. So we'll make sure you get that. Maybe I'll do another Friday review. I've already done it. I don't like to double up on products, but yeah, we want to make sure you get all these things because it is a real issue. So I stopped drinking tea from tea bags a long while ago because it's one of the #1 places for microplastics. All right, Grace is going to be our last question of the day. Grace says, hello, looking for some advice regarding gum and tongue health. I'm a female, 26 years old. I get painful inflammation of my gums, inflamed taste buds, canker sores, and a scalded tongue. Typically, these symptoms show up around my menstrual cycle and clear up in my follicular phase. I tried to oil pull to help with this inflammation. I've cycled lysine and have not seen any big changes in my symptoms. Also, I have unrelated question regarding flushing of the face. I have issues of flushing face that is extreme and uncontrollable. It's not just when I get embarrassed. It happens even when I talk about something I'm passionate or excited about. I don't know why this happens and I can't control it. All right. So Grace, this sounds like a nutrient-based deficiency. Not always the case, and I won't always say that, but in this case, it seems to be that way. It seems like you may be deficient in B vitamins that is causing then the MTHFR. Again, I can't provide any medical advice, medical treatments, medical cures, medical diagnosis, but you might have a methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase gene-based issue. You don't need to know what that means, the MTHFR gene mutation. And your body needs more of B vitamins, specifically B12, methylfolate, and B6 as paradoxal 5-phosphate to help with this, which would then also help with the mast cell production, which might be causing the flushing of the face every time you get maybe a little bit of that sympathetic nervous system dominance. And you might need a little bit more magnesium that you could take in the evening. So again, I'm not providing any diagnosis, but I would love to see if this works. And you can just use the daily nutritional support in the morning. And the reason why I recommend the daily nutritional support is because sometimes bleeding of the gums as well can be vitamin C. So like these are things that you want to get. So my recommendation, daily foundational protocol level 2 for basically every human. All right, basically every human, StephenCabral.com/DFP. I think that's the link, but you can always go to StephenCabral.com/shop. Just type in daily foundational protocol, check out level 2. And then in addition to that, you might add 1 or 2 more capsules of the activated B complex, but don't do that yet. First, use just the daily activated multi or the daily nutritional support, which is part of the daily foundation protocol that contains the omega-3. All right. So you've got that. Add the daily activated B complex if needed a couple weeks after using that, if it's still happening. And then the last piece would be the full spectrum magnesium, 2 capsules at dinner. Again, I'm just saying this is what I would do if it was me or a family member. I can't give you specific advice because I don't know you. I haven't seen any of your labs. I don't know your health history, but I'm just bumping into a family member or giving the advice to myself. That's what I would tell myself. So hopefully this has been helpful. Thank you everybody for tuning into the show. I appreciate you. I truly do. If you haven't left a review of the show, I would love for you to do so just on your favorite podcast player. And I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Mindset and Motivation Monday. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.